Hello everyone, my name is Hildeberto Hakeem and my video will be on machismo. The reason why I chose machismo is because it's such a controversial topic among the Latinx community. So first off, I'll define what machismo is, then I will reference it to the short story that we read, which is Then Did Watch Comedies. And afterwards, I will use some examples of machismo that I've experienced in my life. So, thanks to a quick Google search, machismo is defined as strong or aggressive with masculine pride. Some synonyms related to the term machismo is sexism, manliness, macho, and toughness. So now I will be talking about the short story, Then Did Watch Comedies by Alberto Alvaro Rios. So I'm just going to give a quick brief summary of what the story is about. So the story is definitely a great example of what machismo is, especially in the Latinx community. So the story is about a young kid named Locadio becoming a tough kid, whatever that means. But it's not by his choice that he wants to become a tough kid, it's because of his father's choice. His father is definitely the epitome of machismo. Throughout the story, you hear a lot of the machista things that the father says, and then just going a little into the end, you start hearing Locadio's side of the story of what he really thinks about his father's views, what he really thinks about the way his father is. Locadio definitely drops a bombshell on his father by telling him that the women in the house do all the work and that's really noticeable and that the father is wrong. Okay. So some of the machista things that the father says in the story is like, for example, he uses the term jotitos. And that is a really strong machista thing to say because it's a derogatory term used for homosexuals, used for gays. And I have heard that term, especially coming from a strong Latino family. I hear that term and it just gives this negative vibe because it's such a strong word and it shouldn't even be used. Also in the story you hear the father saying, having these strong traditional sexist views. Like for example, in one of the scenes in the story, he says that the girls should be the ones doing the cleaning and the cooking in the house, and that the men shouldn't do that because the father is washing dishes, but then he's tired of doing it, so he tells Locadio that the women are responsible for this type of work, that men shouldn't do this stuff. He also then tells Locadio that what Locadio did about beating up that one kid is definitely the definition of being a man, which is wrong because beating up someone or getting into fights doesn't make a boy a man. That's just ridiculous, and that's one thing that the father definitely embedded inside Locadio's mind by telling him that being a man is beating up someone. Afterwards, after reading more into the story, you hear more negative stuff that the father says. For example, when the dad gets drunk, he goes back home and the wife decides to give him some money, but Locadio's father gets mad and he gets angry, and he gets so angry that he keeps on drinking more and more with his friends. And this is definitely something I've seen on TV, the man in the house getting mad because the wife is giving him money. And that shouldn't be a problem because when it comes to couples, it should be equally distributed amongst each other. It should be the wife supporting him and the husband supporting her, and the father in the story definitely thinks that the wife giving him money makes him less of a man, which shouldn't be the case. After this happens, the father then goes on to insulting the mama Locadio, the wife. He tells her that the only thing she's good for is raising 3 kids and that's it, nothing else. Which makes her feel less of a person. She feels insulted, but she doesn't say anything. and he thinks that what he's saying is okay, and well, he's wrong and it shouldn't happen. So another thing is when the father tells Locadio that what Locadio did is something Locadio is proud of, when Locadio really isn't proud of doing what he did. He tells his dad that he felt hurt, that what he did was wrong, and that he didn't want to do it at all, that it was his father's idea. And then the father continues on to tell Locadio that he really loved beating up that kid, that that's really who he is. But reading the story, we know that that's not true, that the father is the one who is pressuring Locadio to do all these things that Locadio doesn't want to do, like by beating up the kid, you know. And this is a lot of the stuff that, a lot of the machista things that the father says in the story. So moving on to examples of things that I've experienced of machismo is, like, for example, men don't cry. I heard my dad tell me this many times, and my mom too, that men shouldn't cry, and that it's something that we shouldn't do because we look weak, which is wrong. We're in 2018. Things like this, lots of things change, you know. And another thing that I've definitely heard my father say is don't wear the color pink. I remember when in high school I got this cool shirt for a club, and it was all pink. I mean, I personally don't like the color pink, but you know, the shirt looked really cool, so I wanted to wear it. And then my dad would be like, take it off because, you know, that's for girls, you shouldn't wear that stuff. And you know, these are some great examples of what, like, well, bad examples, but yeah, these are like really bad examples of what machismo is. And you know, we shouldn't even do this anymore. We shouldn't like have machista views anymore. So yeah, this is my video project. Hope all of y'all liked it.